Because why? Julie's drunk.
Julie is drunk today, folks. Get ready.
Get ready. Oh, wow. She's got the hiccups.
It's okay. Rebecca is sober. I'm starting with my...
Grab your wine. It's time for Rosé All Day and Julie's a Mess, where we talk about current events and living in an intersex life. And now, here's Julie.
Hello, everyone. Julie is a mess today. I'm just going to tee her up to have a lovely time with me. Sloppy Julie is as fun as Sloppy Rebecca times 10. She is also still the producer of the show. So if we see any interesting visuals, y'all know what's up.
Look, Julie went to do karaoke earlier with our good friend Divine Grace. It is Easter Sunday, and I may have had a couple of weeks ago, Rebecca, I decided that if I did vodka soda, it would be easier on my system.
Mm-hmm.
And
is it?
I mean,
is vodka soda what we're seeing?
I can understand what you're saying. And I'm eating nachos.
Great.
We have a lot to talk about.
We sure do.
We have a lot to talk about. It's been a lot. Look, last week, if you tuned in, you would have seen manifestation, which Rebecca and I are totally proud of because we got a lot out during that pre-record. I definitely have the hiccups.
Mm-hmm, sure do.
Rebecca's been going through a lot. She had to get a new car.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that happen when you're an adult. Things don't go the way that you think that they will in the time frame that you think they will.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of surprises when you're an adult, not just in dating, but in life in general. And we are glad to have you here this week joining us. I'm eating nachos, trying to sober up a little bit.
Are you going to share those nachos with the group, Julie? Oh, we've got you frozen in the perfect position with an O shape, almost as if we did this on purpose. Wow, eating your nachos. You're back. We're back. But it was perfect. It's like we pre-produced it.
Let's talk about manifestation a little bit. So people can go back and watch that previous episode. I watched it after the fact. Like, I definitely there is a marketable market for manifestation. But we had talked about during that episode that manifestation really is just being open to whatever the universe is going to provide for you. What were kind of some of your thoughts from that?
Well, I can actually use this car experience as sort of because I had a new update since last episode on my feelings about manifestation, which was I was like, I want if new cars are similar to used cars by just a few $1,000s, and I have to stretch myself to get a new used car, I want to figure out how to talk people down to give me a new car for the price of a used car. I'm going to manifest that. Okay. And I was like, I'm going to get a Toyota RAV4. And I like go into the Toyota dealership. They eat me alive. They don't like my offer. I go home. I'm like so defeated. I'm like, I did so much homework, got to get a used car. And I kept imagining myself. I was like, okay, do the manifestation thing. Imagine yourself in like this nice white car. And it's brand new, blah, blah, blah. And y'all, I cannot afford, I did not think I could afford a new car. I'm like, well, that would never happen. My past history is to get the cheap thing. Like, this is the only thing, and like go to the bottom of the barrel because that's all I can do. And I was like, see what the universe has to offer. So I cry out in my heart of hearts, please help me. That's my manifestation prayer. Okay. And I end up being like, okay, I think I need to look into a CRV. I think I need to like open up my options for the kind of car I'm interested in. I'm going to go test drive. Well, long story short, these people were desperate to meet their quota. The universe was working for me. I held to no end that I would not go over my budget. And I said, you can try selling me on a new car if you can meet my budget. That's it. And guess what, folks? I have a nice new Honda CRV that is in my budget, that matches the payment I had in mind for a used car. And that's manifestation. That's all I have to say about it. But you see that I did not just simply dream that. There was a process. And I will give credit to the Jesuses, the universe, of that prayer. I think is really helpful. Like, please help me. This is what I want. I don't know how to get anywhere near it.
So I think that's great. Congratulations. Also, I don't love where I live. It's taken me a couple of months to figure that out. But I don't love where I live. I often come back here to regroup or go see doctors that I know that are in my collective enhancement of life. But like, I don't love it here in Orlando. It's been really tough. And my roommates have a condo in Fort Lauderdale. When I think of Fort Lauderdale, I think of like opportunity. There's a lot of things in Fort Lauderdale that are not available to people in Orlando or Miami or Key West. It's South Florida. And my roommates have a condo in Fort Lauderdale that they have not been able to rent, that they have not been able to sell. And then when you read articles, pardon my hiccups, as you read articles about the logistics of renting.
Oh, you're frozen, Julie. We'll get you back soon. So I have a feeling that you're talking about real estate and the market and what's
There we go.
possible.
I was like, it's thinking.
So we're back. We're back, Julie. Can you recap for us the last few sentences?
Yes. So when I think about what's available to me in Fort Lauderdale as opposed to Orlando, I think opportunities are a little bit better. However, Fort Lauderdale is ridiculously expensive, and I wouldn't be able to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have a friend whose husband just left for the military,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets a military stipend each month to pay for housing. And in talking to him earlier tonight, he was like, my housing would cover their condo fee in Fort Lauderdale. They need a renter. He was saying, I need adventure and a place to live. You need a place that you can thrive. How much can you afford? And I said, what I currently pay for rent is X amount. And he said, oh my God, we could totally make that work. I'll rent the condo in Fort Lauderdale. You pay me the same amount that you're renting for the room in Orlando. We'll make it work. And I'm like, I could thrive. Excuse me, in Fort Lauderdale. I was like,
You sure could thrive.
I could thrive there. And I'm all about adventure. So that may be happening in the future. I may be moving to Lauderdale. We talk about how optimistic in Orlando is about trying to date in a metropolitan city as an intersex woman. And at the end of the day, I would thrive in Fort Lauderdale as an intersex woman because it would create a niche for me that I struggle with in Orlando because there's so many trans individuals and just not a working understanding of what it means to be intersex. And it would benefit everybody. It would benefit my roommates who can't find renters. It would benefit my friend who needs a place to stay. It would just benefit everything. Anyway.
I think that's such an incredible story. It certainly beats mine. And it's so exciting because it really does speak to sort of this like update since last week on manifestation, where you said the word adventure. And I think that's clutch there, which is that you have to be open to possibilities that were outside of what you would normally have thought of. So remember when we were talking about manifestation, we were like, well, if you're really focused on this one thing, like you were like, I'm going to find a man in Orlando and that's happening. And then you're not realizing that the universe has something around the corner for you that is better for you that you didn't even realize was there. And we have to be open and humble to those opportunities to be like, wow, this is even better than I imagined. I put out what is in the bottom of my heart and I'm open to receiving. But it's not like you were sitting at home being like, I want a better situation for the same price for blah, blah, blah. Like you received that.
Well, on the other end, and we'll talk about this. I've been looking for a job for forever and I can't come across a job. And somebody had suggested that I apply for a position in Orlando called Cuddle Comfort. And I thought, what? And they said, you literally fill out a profile. You have to get verified for the company, but you fill out a profile and people hire you to come cuddle with them. And I thought, this is bizarre. It's bizarre. I don't think it will work. How many people are really looking for people to come cuddle with them? What does that mean in essence? So I filled out an application. I went through some basic verification processes. I got verified to be a professional cuddler. And then I started to advertise, and you could have knocked me over with a feather, Rebecca, for all the people that just want to do a non-platonic cuddle and nothing else. I literally thought, is this a thing? I'm telling the people that listen to our podcast, is this a thing? Like, people literally will message you through the app and say, I'm in town March 24th through the 30th, and I would love for somebody to come to my hotel and rub my lower back like my mother used to do and allow me to watch cartoons, nothing sexual, nothing platonic, and I will pay you your rate. And you go, that's not a thing, right? That's not a thing. And I've already gone on a couple of, sorry, because of the gin and the vodka and the nachos, but literally have already gone on a couple of appointments,
Mhm.
and the people literally are like, come cuddle with me. I had one guy that literally laid in my lap, and
Aw.
we watched the Smurfs for
Aw.
2 hours, and I got paid. It's not a romantic thing. I asked him after the fact. I said, and not to reveal his name, I just said, is this really a thing for you? And he said, look, when I was growing up, I watched the Smurfs, and I laid my head in my mother's lap, and she died when I was 6, and that calms me. And he's like, now I'm a multi-million-dollar PR person, and he goes, that calms me down. And I haven't found anything through dating or through life or through any other opportunity where I can find that level of comfort. And he was like, so I hire cuddlers that look like my mother. And I think, some people would be like, that's so weird. But I'm like, if I can sit there and allow you to watch the Smurfs, and that provides you comfort in your adult life that you don't get from anywhere else, let me provide that empathy for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
you're getting
you're
paid to love on people.
Yeah.
It's a form of therapy. And I mean, I am a physical touch person, and I'm an extrovert. And if I'm not out there dating, regularly seeing people, having contact with them, oh, hey, Kenseth. If I am not out there like actively involved with people, that's why I have a dog. My dog exists to be cuddled. She spoons with me in bed at night, as filthy as that is, to sleep with your dog next to you. I don't care, because I need that, and people really need that. And I think in the world that we're in, that's sort of the other side of the online dating thing, right? Like, we have these relationships where people are just chatting with each other. Well, where are you getting that physical need met? And that's really special, and especially like, it's a beautiful thing to evoke someone's memory of their mother and their love for their mother and the comfort of their mother. Like, even though that's like this very highly specific situation, like, that's beautiful. I love that.
And just know that if you're into that and you're looking for that, there are sites out there called like cuddlecomfort.com where you can find somebody to come cuddle with you in a non-platonic relationship.
Do you mean non-platonic or platonic? Do you mean that it feels romantic, but it's not sexual? Or do you mean it feels non-romantic, non-sexual?
The way they talk about the site is it's supposed to be no romance, no sexual.
Okay, so it's platonic cuddling. Okay.
But I am pretty sure just from some of the interest that I've gotten that while the site does not sanction that, it could certainly be a front for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just ends up being like, what arrangements are you choosing to make? It's kind of everybody does what they do at the end of the day. But I think it's so likely that the place is so filled with people that just want to be cuddled that it's almost like not even really a concern.
No, and the trade-off is if you sign up to be a professional cuddler for that site, they want you to book through the site, and you pay 15% of your overall app. But if you charge $100 an hour,
it's still a good amount.
So,
yeah, I mean, that's like any kind of freelance platform. I think they're like that on Upwork or whatever.
I think that's a good thing. I've certainly met interesting people that are like, and just like we talk about Gutterswipes on this show, you meet some Gutterswipes on that app that will ask you things that are a little bit suspect, and you have to be able to figure out, am I willing to do that?
Mm-hmm.
What would I charge for it?
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me this. Our listeners may be interested in the answer to this as well. How do you ensure your safety? Is it similar to like if you go on a date with someone, or if you were doing any other kind of service where it's just like, well, what happens, happens? Or does the service help you, or are people rated, or like, how do you kind of?
I mean, well, as a professional cuddler, people can leave karma points and good reviews about me.
Mm-hmm.
There's not necessarily a way to verify on the site, but what I found is, I mean, Rebecca and I we've been doing this website now, gosh, close to 8 months. And which is crazy when you think about it. And I've met a lot of guys that we've not necessarily discussed through the website, right? I've met some of them through the Hive, and I've met some of them just organically. Rebecca's really helped me figure out kind of, I mean, I've learned a lot in the 8 months that we've been on air. And so there are men in my life that I've met through dating, through the online platforms. Ironically enough, they are not opposed to me making money through cuddling.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have even said, "Oh my God, that's so hot." And you're like, but it's shades of the oldest profession in the world. Even when I shared with my mom the other night that I was making extra income cuddling, she was like, "Oh my God, Julie, that's prostitution." And I thought, is it though? But these guys that I've met that are in my roster have been, and even my roommates who have been very like, you share with us the location, you share with us where you're going, you share with us the booking arrangements. That way, if anything does happen that you don't pick up on or that might be nefarious, we have a way to track you.
Oh, the app kind of takes care of you a little bit with that.
A little bit that does, but like not fully.
Yeah.
But like my roommates,
it's like going to anyone's house.
But my roommates will be like, "Where are you going?"
Mm-hmm.
If you show up and it doesn't feel authentic, and you're a little suspect from it, let us know where you're going.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if anybody's like actively thinking about doing this, inspired by the show, you just need to have all your own safety plan, your friends that you're checking in with, your version of all this. So make sure that you do all your homework for yourself on that, because it's clearly not like foolproof. But I always thought it was so sketchy to even like do Airbnb, or like when there was that couch surfing app and you could just go to someone's house and stay with them in Argentina. I did that. Literally. I stayed at this woman's cabin in Chile as like a 22-year-old on my own for no money, no nothing, but it was like reviews based. But like we do this stuff all the time. But anyway, it's at your own discretion. But yeah, so that's good to hear. And on the front of like, what kind of service is it? Well, first of all, I am very positive towards any kind of experience you want to have, any exchange of money or business that one wants to have. So that's my position on that. However, in this case, I just wouldn't class it. It's non-sexual. So people are not paying you for sex. So if people have a problem with being paid for a hug, I don't know what to tell you. But even a very moralistic person, I'm like, well, sure. So
I'm not gonna lie. Like, there are people that reach out, and the site is very like, if you encounter somebody that's asking for this, or this, and that does not conform to what we're offering, report them.
Yeah.
But, I said to my roommates the other night, I'm like, I signed up thinking it would be easy cash, and it has been. I've literally cuddled babies. I've cuddled pets. I've cuddled pets. You
can cuddle pets on this app?
A woman hired me to come cuddle her baby while she took a bath because she doesn't have any friends and her husband works. And I thought,
wow, that's a bold move on her part.
That's a bold move, right? And like we went through some like verify who you are, stuff like that.
Yeah.
She literally ended up, her and her husband ended up hiring me to come just hold her baby.
Like a nanny. Yeah.
So she could go take a bath. And I thought, that's human empathy at its best.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
But I had a guy hire me that said the stories sometimes break you. Like, guy hired me and said, my mother died when I was 5. And my last memory of her is her rubbing my back while watching Charlie Brown. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you look like her. So can I hire you for 2 hours and we'll play old Charlie Brown movies and you just rub my back?
Yeah. Are any of these people repeat people? Can you have ongoing?
Yes. I mean, some of them are repeat. I'm just starting.
Yeah.
I literally said to my mom on the phone last night, I was like, in a way, it feels like clothed prostitution.
It's not.
And she said, well, I mean, it's not sexual. So she was like, I get that. They're paying you for a service. It is odd. It is odd for a lot of people that have never heard of it, but like, you're literally.
I mean, to me, it's kind of like I would classify it as a form of unlicensed therapy. I mean, it's kind of like when people have like pets, animal therapy or nature therapy or whatever. You are using your body, but crossing into a sexual experience is a very specific line. I'm sure there are people on there where there are blurred lines and anything in between. And again, my position is your body, your choice in every type of way. So I have no problem with people experiencing whatever they would like to experience for money. But if you are concerned with that, it just doesn't fit the category. It's on the therapy spectrum.
I think it's very creative, whoever created the app, to masquerade or code it as cuddling, because there are people that would be like, I'm paying somebody an exorbitant amount of money to come spend an hour with me, to nap with me. And while there's no sexual trade, they're still paying you. I mean, I charge $100 an hour. So a 2-hour cuddle session with a movie is like $270. They're paying what they would pay for a prostitute.
Well, that's like therapy prices. I'm sure you could even up that in time with a reputation. You could be like, people report that they have a transcendent experience, whatever. But I mean, you are ultimately able to make a ton of money doing that. And you must feel good afterwards. How do you feel after you cuddle them? Because you're getting cuddled.
I mean,
or is it heavy? Is it kind of like if you are a therapist and you're like, wow, that took a little bit of a toll, but I'm glad I helped that person?
it's a little bit of that,
Okay.
but it's also like, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to lie. Like, there are men and women that are like, what would it cost me if I went a little bit further?
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, that's something we can talk about.
Mhm.
I really struggled I've struggled the longest time as an intersex woman to not fall into the trap of sex work.
Mhm.
I'll say it. I don't know what YouTube's requirements
No,
are, but
yeah, that we're far enough into
because I feel like for forever, women and men think of trans women as being sex workers.
Mhm.
That is a hard trauma to kind of navigate.
Mhm.
But as I'm thinking about moving to Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale is known for straight men that are looking for trans women or intersex women to have relationships with. And I'm like, why am I fighting it so hard? Like, here I am looking for a traditional relationship. Why am I could have everything that I ever wanted in a relationship with somebody that's looking for a trans or intersex woman in Fort Lauderdale. And you just get to the point where you're like, why am I fighting it? Why am I fighting it?
Mhm.
Why? Like,
I think that's a key part of the manifestation element is that openness to be like, look, there's always going to be a story the world sets up for you around what it is that you want, or where you're from, or where you're going to, or where another option is. There's always society always has a story around something. But the universe might have something for you, despite the story you have about it or other people have about it. And you need to be open that, like, this door number 3, door number 7, door number yellow is the door where you get the thing you wanted. I think we get so attached when we're trying to manifest or want something or ask for something to the path. And it's the path that's unexpected a lot of the time.
and I just think that I feel kind of like, well, for example, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? And
That's
what I
right.
mean by that is like, let's take a sidestep for a second. Kate Middleton, who had been missing for 18 weeks, comes out and she says, look, I didn't really want to share this with anybody, but I had cancer. And here I am trying to be strong for my husband, strong for my children, strong for my parents, strong for the monarchy, strong for the world where most of you don't even know what I go through daily. Here I am, and I have cancer. And there was a collective pause universally for, oh my God, she has cancer. And then immediately, people start coming forward on the internet saying, that's a cover up. That's not really what's going on. The world's doing this to her. The monarchy's doing this to her. She's upset because she's having marital issues with Prince William and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, like, why is collective world so bitter right now that they have to just tear everything apart, whether it be about intersex, trans, gay, the Princess of Wales. Why is everything got to be ripped apart? Why can't we just say, oh my God, she has cancer? What a horrible thing that must be to go through alone. What a horrible thing that her husband must be going through. What a horrible thing her kids must be going through. The fact that she had to come out on her own and make a video about it just to get the rest of the world to shut the fuck up. Like, it kind of makes you feel, Rebecca, like you're never going to win.
No, well, you aren't. She's never going to win. You're never going to win. I'm never going to win. Nobody that says anything in front of more than one other person, but nobody that says anything is ever going to win, because there's so many people in the world who are excited for you to lose, that those people will always just manipulate the information or say that it's wrong or it's fake news or whatever, so that you lose in their eyes. So we really can't live trying to avoid losing in other people's eyes. We just have to follow the path that's put in front of us towards the things that we want.
And yet, if you pull away, labeled as being difficult or shady or secretive, or, I mean, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous to me. Like, interesting enough, I have been, and we talked about this before on this podcast, but lately, since Julie came out of the hospital, her dance card has been like full.
I need my chocolate for this.
Eat your chocolate. But
Easter
like
candy.
Easter candy. But like tons of men have been coming out of the woodwork for Julie. Now, some of them absolutely front runners. Some of them absolutely Gutterswipes. Some of them absolutely somewhere in between and you can't figure it out. I shared with somebody from my past that I'm thinking about moving to Lauderdale because I'm all about adventure and I need a change, and that might provide me with some opportunities I don't have in other parts of the state. And his first takeaway was, we could start a new life. And I literally went, what does that entail? Does that entail you get to run the same games that you've been running in a different part of the country, but you now get to run it in a different city and a different state? Does that mean you're in it 100% for me, and you just think that because we'd be in a new situation and nobody knows us, that things would be good? Like, people's expectations versus what could possibly happen in the world, that's just as scary, right? And when you have a connection with somebody, for all the amazing men that I've met in the last month that I am absolutely attracted to and have different issues with on the surface, here is a guy from my past that I can't get rid of to save my life, who was like, we could go down there and start a new life together. And I'm like, ugh.
So I told you I'd be gentle because for context, this is a person that people have not encouraged Julie to be with, and I will be gentle. So I'm just going to point out some pieces of information neutrally that I'm noticing. One is that if we go back to the idea of balcony and basement people, Fort Lauderdale is a new balcony for you. Like, you're on a balcony. You're like, I'm going to go to this balcony over here. So anybody who is not on a balcony and people who are on a balcony are like, oh, I like that balcony. So there's that aspect. And then there's the aspect of, yes, the sort of red flaggy, bad taste in one's mouth aspect of like, well, the fact that you need to go somewhere where no one knows your name is the thing to think about. But we can forget that. That's okay. I mean, let's put that aside for a second. But I was thinking about this the other day, that when we are wanting love, the best thing that we can do is focus on elevating ourselves and our energy, because then everyone is attracted to that, including people who are good for you, including people who are the way they always were with you, including people who are in between, any version of that. So what I will say is that the fact that somebody is attracted to the choice that you're making is only evidence of the fact that you're attractive, not that they've become more attractive. So that's all I will say about that.
It's crazy because, like, I'm like, long term, I think I've moved past him. I think that's more of a sign of him trying to stay involved.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to let you go.
Yeah. The other thing is, let's talk about, it is Easter. I feel like I literally looked at the clock and I went, we've already talked about 40 minutes worth of stuff. And so anyway, it is Easter Sunday. I'm eating nachos because I'm drunk as shit, because I went to sing karaoke, which I adored. And I took an Easter basket to a friend of mine. Like, let me tell this real fast, because this is important. When you feel in your entire human being to do something nice for somebody, do it. I literally went to Big Lots this afternoon. I bought, because all the Easter stuff is on clearance, I bought a cute little basket. I filled it with candy and a bath bomb and a candle, like cheap stuff at Big Lots, but I knew it would make a big impact. And then when I went to karaoke at the bar I go to, I gave it to the KJ host, and he literally looked at me with tears in his eyes and he said, you have no idea what this means to me today. And you think, yeah, I didn't know what it meant to you today either. I just thought it would be a nice gesture because you're hosting karaoke at a gay bar on a Sunday, and everybody deserves a little bit of Easter love, right? And so I did that, and I didn't do it for any other reason than I thought he might need this, and he did need it. So it's a win-win. My point is, if you're feeling like buying somebody a pack of gum at the grocery store that you haven't seen in a while, or if you're at Hobby Lobby and you go, oh my God, my friend Rebecca would love this Christmas ornament next year, buy it and give it to them. That's literally your conscious saying, they need this today, and you're the vessel that can get that to them, right? I know we're all over the place today, but I had like a lot of vodka tonics this afternoon, so now I'm eating.
Well, I want to jump on to that because my friend, shout out to Jillian is her name.
Hi, Jillian.
She is we have a group of 4 of us. Well, no, 5 of us? No, there's 4 of us. There's 3 of them and 1 of me. And the other 2 love giving gifts. And I like giving gifts. And so like I participate in my own way, or I'll get things or whatever. But the other two are like, they will put the thing together and it'll be beautiful. And I'm like, I'm not Martha Stewart. Okay. But Jillian is like, all right, guys, I love y'all. I'll buy you a drink from time to time, but I don't do gifts. I just don't do them. I still love you though. That's just not a thing that I do. Well, she put together these cute little, each of us got a different bag. And she put so much Easter candy in each one of these things. I'm already down to the legs of this chocolate bunny. And it was the most exciting, fun, joyful. Like after she left, we were like, oh, Jillian got us all bags. Because it meant a lot that Jillian had given us Easter baskets. And I think like it really, just this stuff matters.
It matters.
Mm-hmm.
For the same reason that I say everybody's birthday is important.
Mm-hmm.
And you will meet people in your life that are like, birthdays aren't important to me. And you're like, why are they not important to you? And they're like, well, I've never celebrated them, which usually is a telltale sign that growing up, something happened on a birthday that made them feel like they are not worthy of a celebration, right?
That's intense, yeah.
And I always say that is the day that you arrived on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll ask people privately, I'll say, have you loved your life? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, do you feel like you've made a difference in others' lives? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, okay, well, then we need to celebrate your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's your born day. That's the day you arrived. And you'll hear people be like, well, it was just never made a big deal for me. And I'm like, okay, well, that needs to change. We need to make a big deal. Mm-hmm. Everybody's birthday is a big deal. That is your arrival on this planet.
I love that. Yeah.
And I'm like, and if you want to go as far as I am, I turned 49 in June. And I was told by medical professionals, you might not make it past 48. And you literally start to go, okay, well, I enjoy my life and I enjoy my friends and I enjoy the relationships I have. And I know that I've done things that have created a better, safer place for everybody behind me moving forward. So I should celebrate my life, whether that be a cocktail, whether that be a party, whether that be dinner with your friends. It's literally your day to say, I make a difference in this world.
Wow.
And we're going to celebrate it. Right. And I had a really good friend a couple of years ago that said, do you have cake on your birthday? And I went, cake? What's cake? It's like somebody from Savannah, Rebecca. And he said, cake. It's gay cake. And I went, gay cake? And he was like, well, in this form, it's a rainbow. So it's a cake made of rainbow colors. But he was like, it's called cake, which is gay cake. And he was like, everybody should have a piece of gay cake on their birthday. And I thought, okay, whether that be a cupcake, whether it be gay cake, whether it be regular cake, whether it be a cookie, absolutely should celebrate the day that you were announced on this earth. Mm-hmm. You talk about people that always say, I want to be remembered, or I want to have an impact, or I want to be known for something. If you don't celebrate your birthday, how is the rest of the world going to know that that's your entrance day into this cataclysmic universe, right? So you celebrate it. And look, it doesn't have to be cake. It doesn't have to be cake. It doesn't have to be a cookie. It could be a shot. be a glass of champagne. It could also literally be you turning to your friend and saying, it's my birthday.
Mhm.
It's my born day. It's right. And when you think about it even further, if I turned to Rebecca on my birthday and said, it's my birthday, I don't want any other thing. I don't want a big celebration. I don't want a grandiose moment. I don't want a card. I don't want a candy bar. I just want you to know it's my birthday. You're literally giving the universe the opportunity to say, congratulations, you're 49 and you've survived 49 years of this shit show of a planet. Or congratulations, you matter and you exist. And congratulations, good luck for the future. And congratulations, look at what you've done in the last 49 years.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what you've done. Look at what you've provided to the community. Look at what your existence is. Look at what I think if more people realize that, I think if more people took the time to realize how impactful their existence has been.
Mm. Well, and then if you think about it, if you're acknowledging your birthday and you're like adding nothing to the world and you have betrayed yourself and blah, 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 it's a reminder, hey, your life matters. Are you living it? So the coin can go both ways, but I have never heard that, Julie. I've never heard anyone, all I've ever heard in terms of like rooting for birthdays is like, yeah, it's a time to have a fun time and I love indulging in my birthday. But it's like, it really is. And for all our listeners, Julie was just the sweetest thing ever and made me feel so special on my birthday. The weekend that we were able to do the show together was the weekend of my birthday. And she got me 2 different amazing cakes and made a show of it and just really made me feel awesome. And another friend brought a gift. And I felt really special and it did matter. And I think, but the idea of acknowledging your own existence on this planet and other people acknowledging that you exist is an enormous thing. And we often do that when somebody is going to pass, but I don't think we think about the significance of that you entered and that you're still here. So I love that. And actually, to bring it back to Easter, for some people, today is a really important day. It acknowledges a rebirth, if you will, but it acknowledges a moment in time that has brought a lot of life to them and a lot of important things to them and changed everything for them. So I think these holidays, too, are really special to acknowledge just recognizing the life that is.
100%. And I one of my favorite things to say to somebody in their birth, especially when you think about social media and it's like, it's so-and-so's birthday, wish them a happy birthday. And then you go and look at their page and it's happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Some people will say happy born day, happy born day, happy born day. I think one of the sweetest you can say to somebody on their birthday is, I can't imagine my life without you in it. And this is the day that became true.
Mm-hmm. And I want to recognize that.
Right. And I think when you reword it and you rephrase things like that, then people don't, because I'm guilty of it too. You look at your feed and you think happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. People are saying happy birthday because, happy birthday. But you're like, the messages that hit harder and last longer with me are the ones that I know took a moment of thought and literally took somebody processing, you're in my life because you were born on this day. And if you weren't born on this day, or if you were terminated, or if your life ended, you would not be a part of my journey. And that is what is important to me. Not so much happy birthday as much as it's my life has changed and I'm a better person because of the way you have influenced it. And this is the day that happened. So if I need to get you a card or a cupcake or flowers, or if I need to take you to a movie, or if I need you to do anything other than a happy birthday to make you realize the importance that you share in my existence and journey, then I want to absolutely exalt that and provide that for you.
I love that so much. And I also, I was just thinking, and I'm not a religious person at all. I'm a very spiritual person and a very open person. But while you were saying that, I kept thinking about including this holiday for people to have a personal experience of what matters about it to them. And carrying that same, like just what you said, like thinking about that for this holiday. And it's not just about the chocolate bunny and it's like the cake. We have all of this stuff because it's part of a celebration. But that very personal inner prayer or message or acknowledgement of whatever it is, of just like my life, my existence would not be the way it is without this in it. Yeah.
And I mean, we make jokes. I was at karaoke earlier today, hence why I'm drunk, at a gay bar, hence why Julie's
drunk.
Look, I got up to sing and I was like, I hope everybody's basket has been filled with some eggs. Now, look, that is literally Julie being a little cheeky and dirty, which she is known for, but also a way of saying, I hope you have found love in this day. And whether you believe in the Christianity Easter or not, I hope that even today in this establishment, you're finding joy and you're finding love and you're finding something that makes you happy, and that people are filling your life by placing joy and love in your basket.
Oh, I love that. What's filling your basket and people filling each other's baskets today. That's my new definition of Easter.
Great. Now I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to go to heaven. God's going to be like, Julie.
It wasn't about
getting the basket filled. And I'll be like,
oh, that's so funny. I think that's a really good ending.
Come see, Lord. Come saw. Come in my basket. What? Like, that's not what I meant. But like, just, but who fills your basket, and who fills your basket on the daily, and who in your life is, you think of it this way. This show's about dating normally, and we've kind of gone in different directions the last couple of episodes, and we're kind of trying to find our place and our voice and just talk about everything from current events to dating. But even with dating, you are looking for somebody to have a relationship with that actively fills your basket with bounty. And what I mean, not the bounty picker, quicker picker upper,
Paper towels.
But just literally, like, we are all desperately searching for somebody that fills our love tank, that fills our basket, that is willing to say, here are a couple of eggs, here's some joy, here's some light, here is what I can offer because I'm traumatized, or I have issues, or I have, things that I need to work on my own time. And I'm not ready to share those fully with you, but I like you enough that I'm willing to give you what I have and place that in your basket, whether that be for self-care, whether that be for protecting the other person, whether that be to allow you the opportunity to have a mothering nature to protect those gifts in your basket, to protect that person. Like, it literally, not to break into this huge metaphor for Easter, but Easter is all about forgiveness, a new spring, finding ways to move forward. And if somebody has blessed you enough to place their personal life within your basket and within your nest, you're not coming forward and saying, okay, I like you enough that I'm going to protect everything that you've given me.
Yeah, I mean, and what was coming to my mind is searching for candies that are sprinkling on these cupcakes I was making, and thinking about the different size of the candies, and they're all these egg-shaped things, right? And some people are going to bring you full-on large eggs, and some people are going to give you those little tiny little malt eggs and all kinds of weird stuff that they have at the dollar store, and all of those different things might go in your basket. And it's not on to you to judge what's being put in your basket, or to like ask for, like, I was thinking about this in a romantic situation that
And
I had.
there are plenty of people out there that get a pretty full basket.
Yeah.
And they don't recognize that their basket's full. And then they say, are you going to put a basket? Because it's not Easter without a bow. And then the person is like, I literally emptied myself into your basket.
Yeah.
Can't afford a bow, or I didn't think about a bow, but you're missing the
what I
content
gave
of
you
the basket.
and what I gave you of me, of what I had. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think there is something when we're talking about romantic partnership relationships, we have to think about, with what this person put in my basket, can we together make a relationship? That's a separate thing than receiving what they're offering and not pushing it away in disgust. And just like holding space for how large it is, how small it is, what size it is. Then making a choice about the structure of a relationship, that's a different question. But what I think is yeah, it's not, like, be gracious and receiving. And I've really been being taught this lesson in my romantic life of what is offered to you, without being focused on the love or expression of love you think you're supposed to be getting. And you're so fixated, I didn't get a big egg from you, but you got all these really interesting things, and maybe someone else is going to bring a big egg. So anyway, I think that's a really special lesson. And then I want to add one more thing that was coming to mind. Again, if we tie it back to a sort of a religious, spiritual meaning, but I was reading this book, The Mastery of Love. It popped up on my books. And it was talking about how, like, the ultimate mastery of love is when we love ourselves enough that we're the source, or when we're the source of our own happiness and other people participate in it with us. So this is the other thing, is your basket today is about a source of love filling your basket so that you are not dependent on one or only other sources. If you subscribe to that faith, right? It is a very spiritual holiday. But in general, be it whether you're getting it from the community or from within inside yourself or whatever, just the overflowing basket that you are not only depending on one person to fill that whole thing, but you're open to where it can come from, and where it can come from inside and from outside and around you as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so weird because you and I were talking earlier this week, and usually Rebecca and I talk days out of the week. And I have to be really honest as a host, like coming out of the hospital
It was hard for you.
was hard. And reevaluating where I stand with friendships and people that showed up for me at the hospital and people that didn't show up for me in the hospital that I thought 100% would have shown up for me in the hospital and didn't come. And still being that person that's like, I understand that hospitals are hard for people. And I kept giving people breaks, right? And then I really thought about it and I thought, this person's truly not interested in what I bring to the table because they didn't show up at the hospital. And this person's totally interested in my breast. And this person's totally interested in marking something off a notch to say that they were with an intersex woman. And this person, and like literally having to deal with all of that. The last couple of weeks, I'm like, I don't care about the podcast. I don't care if we run something. I also was like, but I care about my relationship with Rebecca, and we're doing good work and we're doing things that I think are benefiting other people. So therefore, I owe it to her and myself to continue with the podcast. But at the same time, having clear-cut moments where I'm like, I can't talk about this shit this weekend because I spent Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sobbing in my bedroom. And how do I make that parlay into a podcast? And how do I make that parlay? And Rebecca and I have even talked about how we think our best shows have been kind of the last 3 or 4 shows because we have not been so streamlined to identifying Gutterswipes and not the worst of the worst and picking people that we think I would be beneficial with and just letting it live in this organic space, which I met some really great guys in the last month. Some of them absolutely would be Gutterswipes. Some of them absolutely don't understand intersex. Some of them absolutely, and I'm like, I'm never breaking free of that. I said to Manny at the beach yesterday, as much as I don't want to be painted in certain aspects, I'm always going to be painted in that aspect, and there's really no way to get away from it. There's not. And do you continue to, and this would be for anybody that's out there dating, do you continue to let the same stuff manifest and happen to you? Or do you get to the point where you're like, man, the person that wants to know about me in my true self will ask about me and embrace that. And the person that doesn't won't get it and won't embrace it. And he's not my worry, or she's not my worry, because that's not what I'm here for. And I think what's sad is everybody wants to be in a relationship. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants their birthday celebrated. Everybody wants their baskets filled. But you get to the point where you say, what am I willing to sacrifice to have a full Easter basket? And what am I willing to sacrifice to have a pretty Easter hat and a pretty Easter outfit and a pretty facade that will allow everybody else that sees me in public to think, oh, she's good, she's normal, she looks great. She has an amazing husband. He doesn't cheat on her. And I just, on some level, I think that's not real. That's not real
It's
at
Kate
all.
Middleton.
That's not
No
real.
one really knows.
And you think, I almost would rather somebody know that I'm pretty and I've been cheated on and I've struggled and I have health issues and my life is not 100%. And I, maybe one day I'll find the perfect guy that wants to marry me and be with me 24%. But odds are he's also going to have some kinky fetishes that we have to deal with. But it's weird because slowly in the last 3 years that I've been doing this podcast, my ideals are changing, and I don't think it's for the worst. I think it's for the better, but I'm growing. I'm growing in a sense that I'm like, do I want to be Gretchen Rossi and I want everybody to idolize me and think I'm a great influencer and stuff like that? Yes. But at the same time, I'm also like, I just want to be happy. And what's happy for me is going to be 100% different from what Rebecca thinks is happy for me. And what Manny and Nate think are happy for me. And what my parents think is happy for me.
Well, it might not be 100% different, but it will be different. It will be completely unique.
And I think when you get to that point and you realize that, that's what it's all about.
Well, and you realize the cost of all the trades that are made when we're negotiating life. Because it's kind of like buying a car or going to a new place to live, where it's like you're always going to be trading things for, well, this is going to be a longer loan then, or this is going to be a lesser car, or this is going to be a different place, or I don't know anyone here. Or with a person, well, they've got these dark sides or these whatevers. That is your right. That is your key human right to be the one that decides the things that happen to you and the trades that you make as you negotiate life. But you don't get to just have anything without negotiations. And I think that's part of okay, so if this is the reality of what I'm looking at, then yeah, I might have to settle for things not being quite as rosé. But I get to make the deal.
And I get to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, then I bear the price. I bear the burden and the cost and the loan.
It is 8:13. We are way past our normal hour, but I do have to ask you, and thank you, Kenneth, for coming in and saying hi. I want to know, I've been thinking about it all day and I don't think I have one, but what is your favorite Easter memory?
My favorite Easter memory. I can come up with it off the top of my head. I haven't thought about this ever since it happened. I was probably 6 or 7, maybe a little bit older. And it was this friend of my family. They had this enormous backyard. And it was one of those Easter egg hunts with the little plastic Easter eggs. And there was something inside of them. And they were all over these people's yard. It wasn't fancy. It was just big Florida land. And we were all hunting for them and finding them. And there is something about that was magical. Because you didn't know what you were going to find. It was a hide and seek. And I loved that. I loved that Easter egg hunt at that particular place at that moment in time. It was just a piece of magic. And then I also loved this white Easter dress I had, different Easter, that had a pink bow, and it was white and fluffy, and then it was satiny, silky on the top. And I loved that Easter was an excuse to wear this glorious, bright dress. What about you?
I love that. I think I've been thinking about it all day, and I haven't come up with anything that's very like succinctly the one.
Mhm.
I remember when I was working at Disney, I had to work Easter Sunday, and I thought, who wants to work on Easter? And I was friends with Tigger that day and had to go do a Easter egg hunt at one of the resorts. And what was typically I can't believe I have to effing work on Easter. Who wants to do this? I remember looking into the eyes of the children that are in Florida on vacation. So they're not even in their home, like esoteric entity. And they're running all over this resort looking for Easter eggs. And I just remember thinking, there's so much joy in some of these faces, right? Not because of Christ on a cross, or there's just joy that they are dressed up pretty and they are looking for eggs. And there's kind of this community in finding the special egg that has a treat in it. And I just thought, I remember thinking back on that day and just thinking, that's what life is, right? That everybody is looking for that proverbial egg that is going to change their day. And it's not so much that they are searching for, I mean, it's one day. And you would hope that they would understand, as a Christian, I would hope that they would understand the jurisdiction and the love of that particular holiday. But at the same time, if they're not, they're reveling in the fact that they are looking for this golden egg that potentially has something in it that could change their life. And for me, the takeaway as a Christian, I know a lot of people that listen to our podcast are not necessarily Christian, but for me, the takeaway was there are people in this world that are looking for that one thing that can change their whole existence. And oddly enough, today it's an egg, but in life, it is that entity that they just have to put faith into to change their life. And and so for, you know me, for me, it's all about the symbolism. And so I remember that day just thinking, I get it. Thank you so much. Like, I remember going home that day and being like, I get it. I get it. Like, as a Christian, you're looking for that one egg that changes your existence. And if you break it down even further than that, you know, it's new birth, it's new life, it's spring, it's an opportunity to become better than you were before you found it. I mean, it's just all these, like, they're just, you could write a book on all of the analogies of finding that egg. And on top of that, I just like pastel colors and life.
Well, yeah, because an egg represents life. And that's, yeah.
So, I mean, so for me, it's just that interesting. Growing up, my mom and dad would make, we were talking about this the other day, my mom and dad would make cakes based on the seasons. And my mom and dad used to take like 3 whole sheet cakes, and they would make like the body and then the head and then the ears, and they would coat it in like icing and coconut, because my mom was a big coconut fan, and make like bunny cakes. And then one of my roommates was like, my mom would make bunny cakes too, but they talked about how she made it. And I was like, that seems 100% easier than how my mom and dad in Alabama would make a bunny cake. I'm like, do I want a bunny cake? No. But I'm just like,
Wait, isn't the bunny cake you can make 3 regular cakes and then you split one in half and that becomes the ears?
So my mom and dad would do like a sheet cake, and that was the body of the rabbit with like a vest. And then they would do a round cake, and that was the head. And then they would use like licorice to make their whiskers and like jelly beans and stuff like that. And then you'd take another sheet cake and you'd cut the ears out, and you would use the ears as the ears. And then you would take the remnants from the ear cake and turn it into a bow tie.
Oh, that's cute.
It's so cute. But I'm like, who the fuck is eating this bunny cake for the next 3 weeks? Like, because it was a lot of cake. My roommate, Nate, who you met, Rebecca, his mom would take a round cake, cut it in half, and fold it. So now you have like a half moon. Yep. Decorate that, and then she would make feet like out of cupcakes, and then she'd make a head, and then she would poke paper in the head to make ears, so it looked like a bunny that's like,
oh, this way.
Yes. And I'm like,
cute.
Well, that's cute. I mean, that's cute, and that seems practical. My mom and dad were making like,
I kind of like your mom and dad.
My mom and dad, I mean, if my mom and dad had legs and feet to their bunny, that might have been like a horror story. And my good friend Bianca Del Rio, she posted a meme earlier this week that had the ether bunny on it. Not the Easter, the ether, because nobody can say Easter.
Bunny.
And the ether bunny is a bunny that's chloroforming kids with like, and I thought, why are we making Easter creepy? Funny.
It's not Halloween yet, honey.
It's funny, but it's also like the ether bunny. I get it.
We gotta end on a better note than that, Julie. Just give us a final saying or another re-impart an Easter wisdom. I don't know.
Okay. What came first, the Easter? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, there's no answer to that.
Yes, there's an answer.
There's actually an answer to that.
Rebecca, there's an answer. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
I mean, I think that I didn't know there was an answer to that.
There is a scientific answer.
Okay.
In the show this way.
It would be the chicken. It would be the chicken because something would have evolved.
Or the egg.
Something would have evolved into the chicken. No.
The answer is, who the fuck cares as long as something came?
That was so worth it.
That's a Julie joke right there. Look, Kenneth, in the show, Kenneth said such a beautiful analogy. I'm sure he is not talking about what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Thank you, Ken Zeth. It's Ken Zeth.
Yeah. He was supposed to come see the show with you in Savannah that I couldn't make it to.
That was they did such an incredible job.
I have to tell you, I'm glad I didn't make it. I mean, I wanted to see it 100%, absolutely. But the Rook wanted me to stop and see him. And lately, everything that has passed me through Savannah, the Rook has wanted to stop and see me. And I had to cancel my family reunion because I didn't have the gas money. That would have required me to see the Rook. Like literally now the Rook wants me to like move to Lauderdale and allow him to move in with me. And I'm like,
The Rook seems to want a lot of things.
yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. The Rook can't provide for Juleigh.
No, the Rook doesn't feel much of a basket.
Yeah, the way that she needs to be provided for. This light, I totally am like,
I am so into it.
What were you doing on?
It's ghost story lighting. No, it's very compelling. No, I will tell you the answer to who can fill the basket better than the Rook. And I will say, in a very Christian, unlike me way, it is the person who is risen today. And we will end on that, folks.
We'll end on that. Julie knows that 5 men since 5 p.m. have risen for her and Jesus. But, like, it's where it's confusing. Join us next week as we talk about something else that won't be Easter related.
It won't be Jesus, folks. We promise.
And
shout out to all you pagans out there celebrating spring and all the rest of us that do or do not like peeps.
Julie will not be drunk, hopefully. She's got to find another night to go to karaoke.
Yeah, no, we're going to have a sober episode next week, and then we can get back to sloppy again the following.
Yeah, well, sloppy when we talk about Gutterswipes.
We love it. We love it.
But also to catch you up on Optimistic in Orlando, Julie currently has in her active roster, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys.
Julie, we're not going over an hour 30.
No, 5 guys that are literally occupying her time this week, plus all the men that are hiring her to go cuddle. So Julie's a lady, and her mind is a little like Swiss cheese right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Rebecca and I are in a chat. Rebecca's been going through some things as well. Mm-hmm. Little Miss Tennis Racket. Mm-hmm. And we are going to figure it out. And we will be back next week to talk about it. But as for now, Juleigh needs to go to bed.
Yeah.
And good night, everybody. And Rebecca and I are going to talk a little bit in the green room. Yeah. So we love you all. And see you next week.
For more content, follow justjuleigh.com. That's just Juleigh, JULEIGH.com. Thank you to our guests, and thank you for joining us this evening. Join us next week as Juleigh tries